So you think you know your perfumes, huh? But like we might know the notes, the brand names, the marketing pitch with notes in the pyramid. God knows if any of that is actually there in the formula. But can you really tell the difference between birch tar and smoky leather? Do you know where the amber ends and benzoin begins? Have you really ever smelled hyacinth? There is an answer to all these questions, and it's called blind testing. Today, I have received a noble challenge by my subscriber, a set of 10 fragrances from her personal collection with answers read one by one with a few notes by the owner and the lover of those perfumes. And we are gonna see how far can I actually get with my nose blind without any hints, without any additional data before I have to guess the pyramid. I'll try to find something similar in my collection to steer our discussion. Feel free to just pause and leave a comment with your guesses based on what you hear. Test your own memory and knowledge of the large, vast ecosystem of designer niche perfumery. And we'll soon enough see which one of us has got it. By the way, everyone can do it. My channel's address is in the description of every video. So if you do want to challenge my nose and also display the best and the worst that your collection has to offer, you're very welcome. I welcome every challenge. That said, if you want to be challenged by me, I'll leave a link below to order a very rich and delicious blind test to your prescribed liking. Do you want to study a particular note? Do you want to be challenged against a particular spectrum of or genre of perfumery? I'll leave all information down below. All right, let's start. Blind test included 10 perfumes and 10 little notes and answers from my personal collection. There are no doubles. Bonus, she also sent me 2 nail polishes. Thank you very much. I already used one. I love them. I love niche nail polishes. Maybe slightly less that I love niche perfumes, but I do have a collection there as well. So from a fellow nail polish hoarder, thank you very much. I really appreciated that. And and then a little note. Hi Maria, thank you so much for all that great content. You're so generous to share your knowledge and collection with us. You're always welcome. That's my pleasure. I love all of your videos, but blind tests are my favorite. No pressure, only to enjoy. Feel free to compare with your similar items, perfumes. Yeah, this is what I usually do when I get a chance to properly do things at home, because I think it makes for a richer and more interesting content, and also allows you to potentially also guess with me because you're not here to smell them. All right, we got our 10 perfumes, we got our 10 answers. Let's begin. Number 1. Quiet, powdery. Can't really tell if it's more irisy or violet, somewhat in between. Usually violets to me very quickly turn sour, like it's a mixture of my personal perception of violets, but also the components that make violet plus leather perfumes are very unstable, so they do tend to go off fairly quickly, and then they twist to this like spoiled sour facets. I don't find that here. Therefore, I am prone to conclude that this is a nudie violet perfume. I would be very surprised if a designer does anything like that. Designer perfumes usually are loud, very abstract, very synthetically well-rounded. You can't really pick any particular note out of them. So it's either something super affordable those eau de toilette lines. You can find, certain lines at Target, like Pacifica, those au naturel, irisy, nudie, slightly powdery perfume, because it's very quiet, or it's niche. Niche could easily do that. That's a very easy guess. It doesn't really develop much on my skin. I wore it once. It's very pleasant. I must say that this was a delight to go through, because my previous one, I don't know if you watched it, cue to watch it after, just to feel the difference. I was challenged by my subscriber, who is a guy, and his collection, as people say online, leans masculine, and that is 9 circuits of hell for me. Because to me, when I cross the aisle away from just overall niche perfumery, like something that has a composition, when I cross the aisle toward this, like for men, for women, it all smells the same to me. Anyway, this was actually quite a lot of variety. Almost any of them could have easily come from my own collection. So I think we probably have similar taste, which is not surprising. Usually you watch people because they have opposite taste from you. So, if they are saying that they hate something, that you're very likely to like it, you make a note. Or if even more commonly, when you have similar tastes. So it's very quiet, nudie, comfortable thing. It made me think of sort of molecular irises and things of that nature, but it could be also something like earlier Diptyque, earlier Atelier Cologne, maybe even some, I don't know if Aqua Allegoria has any irises. It's something of that nature, very quiet, very demure. It can be fairly cheap as well. I brought in a molecular iris that I have just to remind me, but it's not the same. This is Iris Rebelle by Atelier Cologne, which falls into that category that I just described, but this is definitely iris. This number one is in between, and this, it's almost pure poison, but not. It could be Simply Poudre by Jill Sander, but it's just so quiet and demure, almost like a dust of powder. Yeah, I haven't really extracted much from it. To me, I wish it had a little bit more character. I wouldn't pay more than $50 for that, but we're about to see. Okay. I'm not too far. It is, I guessed, the realm of the brands. This is Diptyque. 2010 perfumer is Fabrice Pellegrin. The perfume is called Eau d'Huile Eau de Toilette. It is one of their rather more famous ones. And despite me referencing all of that irisy, violety, powdery goodness, it is based on cardamom. Okay, this is cardamom. See, like one of the components, like cardamom, I feel like I know it. I use cardamom as a spice, but I never really smell it strongly as a component in any perfumes. There was once a boutique line by Zegna, which had something eau de cardamom, which was very quiet. It was painfully quiet, but it was so beautiful. It was the most beautiful cardamom fragrance I ever tried. And since it was devoted to that component, I felt I had to have it. Never ended up finding it for a reasonable price. Forgot about it. But this could be that. I should start remembering this is a very quietly supported by cardamom, elemi, juniper, vanilla, pink pepper, olibanum. I would not say that this is a very resinous, like frankincense, elemi, juniper. You would expect something way more prickly, way more strong and powerful. But eau de Huile Eau de Toilette is a rather quiet guy. So what does Nicole say? An aromatic vanilla, slightly woody, agreed. To me, it's like a swig of gin martini followed by a white Tic Tac. Ha! I like this description. You know, I didn't get quite the powerhouse that I would expect from the gin martini, because I do have the most believable gin that I've ever smelled, and this is, I think it's the 6th Hour by Cartier. Oh, that gin tonic is unforgettable. This is so quiet and whispery and cuddly. It's such a whispery perfume. It costs 100 ml. Full price is gonna be $190. That's a lot of money for something that quiet. But also, I gotta say, Eau de Belle is a classic by Diptyque, so I completely understand why so many people drawn to it. I just feel in the modern age, there are plenty of perfumes that kind of surpassed it in every dimension, like technicality, the interest of the pyramid and composition, also pricing. Number 2. Okay, this makes me think of Marzipan cookie. It has this, I think, marzipan, almondy plus baked cookie smell. I, even for a second, thought it was Rahat Lukum by Serge Lutens, but that is such a rare find, and through my memory had a travel, which I regifted. It was so sweet. It was so enveloping. It was a bit much for me, but a friend of mine who I regifted it to, he loved it, and it just blossomed on his hotter skin. Like, sometimes guys can pull off gourmands better than girls can, because the skin is hotter. There's a bit of a, I don't want to say stronger smell, but true, guys do have, I think, more of a smell than women do on average. And sometimes certain gourmands blossom specifically on the man's skin more than on average, so to speak, female skin, which is a really bizarre thing to say. I'm really not into gender dividing perfumery. But here, it's softer. It's not as overtly deep gourmand as Serge Lutens or Rahat Lukum. But also, I remember that Keiko Micheri had Lukum, which was softer and more enveloping, but I still don't think that's it. Because there's a sharper edge to it, which I think is something about green almonds on top of that marzipan sweet note that makes this a little piercing. This could be an older boutique Guerlain. This feels very gourmand to me. Obviously, it could be niche. This, I think, if this costs any less than $100, I'll be blown away. I think that stuff usually goes for like 200 plus. And not necessarily because it's worth it. It's just certain compositions people are willing to pay more for. Okay. Wow. This is Bois Farine by L'Artisan Parfumeur. I had it, believe it or not, with a golden lid. And I was so unimpressed. And that was one of the cult creations by Jean-Claude Elena for L'Artisan Parfumeur. Both acquired so much fame and praise for that. It's supposed to smell like dough, like baking dough. And Jean-Claude Elena devoted it to the smell of his wife. He said the sexiest thing to him about her was when she was baking, I presume, bread or cookies or something, and she smelled like dough. So that's it, Bois Farine. I was so entirely unimpressed. I think resold it or regifted it, and now obviously I regret it. I think it's I think they reformulated it, but everybody as usually says that it's never the same. 100 ml will go to 225. I predicted that. Niche, agreed. It's an older formulation, so I thought older Guerlain, but it's an older L'Artisan Parfumeur. The baking scents evolved since then. They're not as powdery now. There is one that I'm dying to try, but there's nowhere to do so, is a new scent devoted to bread by Son Venin, which is a Norwegian niche brand. That would be cool to try. I feel that this is like an older way to interpret baking scent, but it's still so good. So it was originally made in 2003, and Nicole, how dare you, Nicole, she has vintage formula before reformulation that I just lamented about. Wow, hold on to that one. Inspired by the I'm sorry, I'm not sure I can read this handwritten word. Tree on Reunion Island, featuring a powder, nutty and moody profile evoking the scent of flower. To me, the dryness of a unsmoked cigarette and almond foam or flam. I agree. I don't detect as much cigarette here. A cigarette to me has a little bit of that slightly austere, bitterness, which I don't get here. Wow. This really sends me back to early 2000s. They don't make them like this anymore, I gotta say. Not because they can't. I think it's because it's just out of vogue. It's not as popular to make flower scents like that. They usually now make them way more rounded, way more almost, I dare say, lactonic. And that woody, dry powderiness that is not makeup-y but more soft, spicy, it's a very early 2000s. That's also very Elena, because his Amber Narguil for Hermes is arguably the softest, the most kitchen spice amber most people have tried. It's equal parts bois farine, powdery spiciness, and amber accord. He knows how to really deliver on that. Also makes me think a little bit of Le Diver by Frederic Malle, which I did finish a few samples of, and I crave to add to my collection. But I'm poor. Let's face the facts. I just don't have the dough right now for that. All right, number 3. Candied violets, sour, sweet, makes me think of violets. It could be also sugary lemons, like ethyl maltol, pressed lemons. This synthetic aspect, like lemons here are not as freshly cut real lemons, but more like a vitamin C with bright ethyl maltol burnt sugary aspects. Not my favorite, but there are many fragrances like that. It's like sour, bittersweet lemonade. This is not too bad. It's not too bitter. It's not too piercing. Citruses here are not drilling in your nose as much. But I gotta say, I probably would skip on that if I was presented with a buying choice. This could easily fall into Aqua Liguria by Guerlain. This could be Aqua di Parma. Like, even Perfumum Roma, which makes much deeper, much richer, much oilier versions of lemons with sugar, much more believable in my opinion. Like, it's south of Italy. They love stuff like that. Like sugar, lemon syrup, some fizziness, maybe added with neroli or something like that, or juniper. And here you go. This essentially is the formula of classical Italian cologne, which is an Italian perfumer who made a fragrance in the city of Cologne, it's called in English. And that's what became cologne as a genre in perfumery. It's like sparkly, bittersweet, refreshing herbs and lemons or citruses. That's what it is to me. I would put it in Acqua Liguria, Jo Malone, Italian, fairly affordable Italian niche like Acqua di Parma. I personally wouldn't buy it at all, but if I was asked to shop for something like this, I would probably not pay more than $60. Okay, this is Indigo by Nest. Nest has really beautiful packaging of their bottles. I absolutely dig that black background with botanical drawings. Mwah. Compliments to the chef. I'm just still waiting for them to release a single perfume that is not a synthetic mess that just lays flat. I do not understand why can't they wrap their hands around better olfactory design. It's my not so humble opinion. Beautiful packaging, beautiful. I want them, but I can't find a single Nest perfume that has substance to it. Anyway, Indigo 2014 Sephora exclusive. Yes, as far as I know, Sephora is where you find them. Okay, I did not guess that. Well, I guess the bergamot tea is an accord, can fall into nudie if it's more matcha, milky lactonic, or jasmine tea, or it can fall into actually a cologne side when it's a little bit more sharp. Fig. I did not get fig here. Still don't get it here. Cashmere wood, which is synthetic accord, and cardamom. Again, my girl, you're a cardamom. I love cardamom in everything. I guess we're similar in that. I would pass on that. Warm, spicy, fresh, vibrant, not for me. Me and you, Nicole. Me and you. The two of us. We get it. Like Nest, pull yourself together. For such beautiful bottles, the contents, they gotta be. Come on. It's a wasted opportunity. Somebody who is involved with Sephora, Honest, or Perfume World, please get them to do better in terms of juice. Because I want them for the bottles. Yeah, I agree. 50 ml, 98. It's just, to me, very forgettable, like very passing thing. Moving on, number four. Oh, now we're talking about an iris. As I told you, you think you know your perfumes until you start smelling them blindly and you can't tell hyacinth from iris from violets, which also is it's partially not our fault because all of the pyramids that we read online is product of marketing and may have zero correlation with the formula. They're just writing something to help sell the perfume, essentially, to help people navigate how to assess a product they cannot really experience before they either get to the store or buy it blindly. But I would call this a molecular iris perfume. Which is very fortunate, they already have Iris Rebelle here by Atelier Cologne. Like, I love molecular irises, but I rarely find occasions to wear them. They're kind of a bit boring. Like, I get a bit of the monastery vibes when it comes to irises. They're very cerebral. They're very, in my perception, divorced from life, from being lively. But they're beautiful. And this is one exception, not one of exceptions where I make toward purely synthetic molecular perfumery that I think is better than the natural ingredients. Molecular iris compositions, synthetic iris has such unique, ethereal, quiet depths. This is a little bit more floral. This is a little bit more centered around other quiet, soft, nudie. No, I wouldn't say that this is super electronic, not really. But this is like well-rounded, but maybe again cardamom and some other herbs, some soft herbs, maybe even lavender. Not really. I would say it's a well-rounded, well-mannered iris. This could be, I would expect these like nouveau riche, niche, like good for you, green, vegan, Henry Rose type of perfumes, you know, when they make purely synthetic perfumes, but since they use so few ingredients and they try to make it pure and quiet, that they just fade into nothingness. It's IKEA of perfumery, I would say. At the same time, the roundness of this is not just molecular iris, like Iris Rebelle. The roundness of it suggests that there is more to this composition that meets the eye initially. So that again could be some other deep teak type of, or l'artisan parfumeur type of creation. Yeah, I think that's it. I would say that a well-rounded, delicate iris usually would cost you, like Ubigan Iris de Champs, would cost you around 100 plus, maybe plus $30. If that's your cup of tea, that would be worth it. I know where to find things like that for $30, and I rarely ever wear them anyway. I also brought my iris by Pierre Boudon, Frederic Malle Iris Poudre. Way more aldehydic, way more complex, way brighter, not even worth spraying here. Not the same story. So yeah, for a quiet, kind of makeup-y nude iris like that, I would say $100 to find the variation that's just you is good enough. Oh, there's no way I would have known this brand, but this is, I guessed correctly, the direction. This is a nouveau niche. This is a new niche, Hellenist, it's called, the brand, and the perfume is Le Bras de Morphie by Susan Lee Healy in 2024. It's indie niche brand. It's not even niche, it's indie. 15 mil, 15 mil, $55. Which is, I dare say, for perfumes like that, it's a good size. It's a good size. Iris, violet leaf, violet, hazelnut, heliotrope, cashmeran. All right. The complexity, well-roundedness, I think, is definitely supported by whatever aroma chemicals they describe as hazelnut and violet leaf and heliotrope. Cashmeran is a really good base for irisy perfumes because it gives this violet-y, woody, dry, woody, quiet presence. It is very nice. And for 15 mil, $55, that's not the cheapest, but I think I dare say, I think that's the right policy. I think that the more indie brands, the brands that are just starting out, should start out with smaller sizes, 15 mil, 20 mil, so that you don't have to go into the territory of free samples. You can just, like, you know what, just get yourself a travel 15 ml, and for a reasonable enough price, like 50, a lot of people will do it. And whether they come back for a bucket of it or not, up to them. But you already made a sale. You know what I mean? You don't have to deal with samples and all that stuff. And I think it's a much friendlier way to also slowly ramp up production, slowly ramp up clientele, slowly ramp up your offerings, how many perfumes you can offer. Is storing 100 ml bottles, not knowing the demand, that's pretty crazy for any small brand. Powdery Violet Iris Woody Vanilla. I think I got it. Designed as a suspended embrace. It's a very cuddly perfume. Translated to In the Arms of Morpheus. Hypnotic cloud-like trail. To me, it smells purple, soft, and sad. Sad? Yeah, I agree. It's a beautiful specimen of iris. Once again, Les Bras de Morphie by Ellenist. These days, seeing what corporations are doing, I'm all for supporting smaller niche brands. If price is about the same and the performance of the perfume satisfies you, I would rather anyone would buy from the official website of a small indie niche perfume and just let corporations do their thing, because I think they lost their way a little bit. Just saying. Number 5. Before I get deleted from all PR lists. Not that I'm on many. Number 5. Annoying. That's what I call it. And that usually means that I smell anise. Anise is a spice. It's lemony, minty, anise type of herbaceous, fresh tonic. Ugh. This is exactly the type of morning colognes I can't stand. So this spicy freshness that can be created by lavender, can be created by anise, can be created by mint. There's just something here that is just I don't like. Plus citruses and some, again, candy sweetness. Like I call it lemon candy plus anise, lemon drops. It's alright. After all, it's Saint Leviable. Applied with 10 sprays. Like I can live with that. I just... that some part of that accord, we'll see if there's anise in this or not. I don't really vibe with. Generally speaking, to me, it's just like these like lemons plus juniper, whatever colognes. It's just not my cup of tea. There's so many of them. I cannot enjoy them, but I don't mind them on other people. That's an interesting dichotomy. I almost dislike them on me, but I don't mind them on other people. Like to me, it's elevator music type of perfumery. I think stuff like that, you just buy yourself the Kern's water. Those like classical Italian cologne formula that was developed in Germany. I have to keep adding these disclaimers because people assume I don't know what I'm talking about and I haven't read the history of cologne. I have. It's an Italian formula that was developed by Italian perfumer who lived and worked in Germany and Köln. Okay. Yeah, you can buy that for like $15 a bucket and be happy. So it could be yet another something eau de campagne, Sicily, or some other herbs, juniper, lemons, bergamot by anyone else. It could be anyone else. Anyone. What's interesting that I haven't noticed. Oh, now it's not as bad. The beginning was off-putting to me. I didn't notice ginger. I forgot what else gives this breathy freshness. Mint, lavender, anise, ginger does the same spicy freshness. I really wanted to buy it. 100 ml for 185. This is Eccentric Molecules, Molecule 1 and Ginger by Geza Sean. I nearly bought it in my exploration of ginger, but then I landed with a bunch of other things which satisfied that thirst, and I forgot about it because I can't find it any cheaper than 110 anywhere, which means that it's a popular perfume in the lineup of eccentric molecules, which I'm really happy for them. I mean, it's Iso Super and Ginger Accord. I don't know, the beginning was so anesthetic for me that it was almost distracting. Sharp, I agree. The beginning, there's something a bit disturbingly sharp in the beginning, but then it settles into a believable lemon ginger scent. Sharp, effervescent, and spicy ginger, plus clean, woody Iso Super. I know you're searching for a ginger scent. I like this much better than your favorite Prada, which I found had an ambery, I think it's ambery aspect. Prada grew on me. I was disappointed at first with a Prada or gingerbread. That's what we're talking about here. Infusions de Prada is one of my top cologne, like waters lines in designer perfumery that you can find anywhere. Like you can order it from Sephora, for example. But it grew on me, and I still consider it my favorite because it's the most affordable and widely available from all of them. But I agree with you, Nicole. The perfect ginger scent I haven't found that. But I've made, I think, a pretty rich exploration. And I gotta say, compared to this, Molecule 1 and Ginger, I like Floraiku. I think it's called I'm Coming Home. Find my ginger episode for Perfume Nation. Like all of them are listed there, you'll see. So the Floraiku ginger doesn't have as much projection, but there's something about this sharpness here that I dislike. And Floraiku ginger doesn't have that, and it just really lands for that fresh lemon jasmine tea plus ginger to me slightly better than the Molecule 1 and Ginger, which might be tomato type of judgment call. It's a good one. It's just the opening was a bit sharp for me, but it's close. It's close, and like fair criticism. Prada, I wouldn't say that this is the best ginger in the planet. I just found it to be the best all around, considering what we have access to and what things cost these days. Number 6. Oh, this is so familiar. This is torture. It's either something I've smelled before. God forbid if I own this. Because it's hard to swallow when it's something I actually have in my collection. But it sounds very familiar. It smells like something I've smelled before, or a genre that is well defined. What is it? Quiet, like I see that Nicole has quite a collection of nudes, what I call nudes in perfumery, sitting close to the skin, subtle, quiet nuances, whisper in your ear. It has something like plum, I would say, like a plum flower and fruit accord. I would even say it's some kind of plum orchid. But it's not heavy. I wouldn't put it into heavy gourmands, because plums usually, when they are present, they send us all the way to hookah bar with all this tobacco, plum, cherry, liquor, woods, deep spices, baked prunes. This this is not there. This stays on the lighter spectrum. It's very hearty, it's sweet-ish, but I wouldn't call this super grounded. That could be something like the third tier designer. They love stuff like that, like Oscar de la Renta, After Night or something, like Nina Ricci. I haven't tried the third tier designer fragrances a long time because there's nowhere for me to try them, just to test them. And even though they're not expensive, buying all of the Nina Ricci apples, things of that nature, it's like stack up. It's going to be very costly for dozens of perfumes that I probably would never wear. So can't really point into any particular direction, but I would put this into Nina Ricci, Oscar de la Renta. Like, which other not expensive designer fragrances love sweet vanilla plummy accords? If it's a niche, I think it's a wasted opportunity. A niche brand should have done something a little bit more interesting. But again, Keiko Misheri is the one who loves plum. And I do want to say that they're Lady Pointe, which is a more wearable sister of Orchid. I'm thinking Black or Velvet Orchid. One of the Orchids by Tom Ford. It's really good. Yeah, I would say that this is a third tier designer. If it's a niche, I can only this could be some gourmand version of a rose as well. Because a rose is put in everything these days and can be twisted in gazillion different ways. But that's where I am. I would not pay more than $50 for that. Ooh, I'm not even familiar. This is French indie artisan. Okay. Brand called Via Francois. And the perfume is called Le Parfum. Perfumer is Francois Ledoux, 2023. It's $194, nearly $200 for 100 ml. Incense Gardenia. Okay, it's a Gardenia. Gardenia Amber Musk Oud here and leather. Are you kidding me? For the pyramid, a Gardenia Amber Musk, sure. And that's where I would end the marketing description. Incense Oud leather, where? Lacks character in my opinion. Okay, a tribute to Dorian Gray, Le Parfum Via Francois. Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde and Jean-Baptiste Grenouille by Patrick Suskind. The narcissistic megalomaniac perfume, metallic radiant oud with, am I smelling? Yeah, this is 6. Yeah. I was like, am I smelling the same thing? Metallic radiant with white mask gardenian leather. I met the perfumer on the streets of Paris. Wow, what a story. My friend bought this one. It's too narcissistic for me, I guess. I'd rather say this is maybe like a vulnerable narcissist. Have you heard? That's all vulnerable narcissism is all the rage. And by scientific studies, it's way more traumatizing for children. If you're a child of a narcissistic parent, your mother is, I think, so many more times more likely, 3 to 10 times more likely to be a vulnerable narcissist, or it's also called covert narcissist. And the damage that it installs, embeds in children is way more pernicious and long-lasting than an overt peacocky narcissism of parents. Go figure. So if this is narcissistic perfume, I would call it Covert, because to me it actually doesn't have the sharpness and the vivaciousness and the presence that I would expect from dominating diva type of a perfume. To me, this needs some work. This formula needs some work, in my not so humble opinion. Number 7. I think I just breathed in a little bit of just pure alcohol. I did. Now it's in my nose. Whoa. Okay. That was a regrettable mistake, because after the blast of alcohol, you get a lot of mint, but also something medicinal again. I have such a hard time with certain combinations of herbaceous accents in perfumery that like the moment my brain registers it as cough drops or like medicinal tinctures, like alcohol tinctures, I'm done. Like done. But there is something there, like Nicole, you mentioned Tic Tac somewhere there at the beginning. I would call this is a Tic Tac perfume. This is like a mint hard candy. And that's about it. I would expect something like that to be like a seasonal release in Target. Sometimes they have really cool collaborations, and I remember there was a company called Good Chemistry that had really imaginative and fun and cheap waters that they, I think, exclusively sold at Target. Those were the fun times, but I think things went downhill since then. If you are looking for a mint perfume that could be worthwhile, because there are not many, at least in my experience, there are not many mint perfumes that are long-lasting or even interesting. For some reason, it's an elusive note to capture, and the only perfume I know of that does it really well is Mentha Religiosa by Rue & Rue. This is much like a Christmassy version of that, plus some medicinal herb aspect. Could be niche, mint. I cannot imagine any designer doing a mint and herbs centric perfume, but this also could be just a limited release devoted to an appropriate occasion like Christmas, because mint has a place in the American culture for Christmas. What I did on my holidays. I can't believe I guessed that. I guess it's literally a niche perfume that's devoted to Christmas. What I did on my holidays, the brand is called 4160 Tuesdays. Sarah McCartney, it was created in 2013, $140 for 50 ml, and notes are ice cream, mint, chocolate, seawater, vanilla, cotton candy. I'm pleasantly surprised that I guessed it that precisely. I've never tried this brand, so I couldn't possibly have guessed this particular one. Wow. Well, I guess I know a thing or two about perfumery. A UK beauty holiday filled with the smells of the boardwalk. Creamy sun lotion, brisk sea air, peppermints, candy floss, ice cream. To me, sweet mint and lavender, perfect for bed or anytime. Okay. You know what? Maybe it's the seawater, like a mineral accord, that I took as something disturbing and herbaceous, but I don't really get. What I don't get is coconut. Vanilla-ish, cotton candy-ish ice cream maybe, but I'm the coconut usually has a little bit more of a distinctive flavor to it, and I don't get it here. Number 8. Oh, this is very bright, very sharp, very green, bitter green, like basilic, rhubarb, bitter orange, green orange, and something sweet like candied orange. Like they're all these citruses. And the moment I smelled it, and I still maintain to this third try, it really reminds me the Orange Vert. Hermes, and in particular Jean-Claude Elena, is a master of making all kinds of bitter, juicy citruses like that. And Hermes has a whole cologne line that is like, try to tell them apart. All these citruses, they have the Orange Vert, I have a shower gel, I'm thinking of buying a full size bottle. It is nuclear. It is absolutely nuclear. It's not for everyone. But if you want like the ultimate bitter, fresh, zesty, green, multi-citrus concoction, find something by Jean-Claude Elena. You will not be disappointed. This is it. I'll be damned. It could be one of the Hermeses easily. Such a satisfying, juicy, fresh, green, bitter, green. Like it's like yuzu, bitter orange, bergamot, lemon, lime. Fun. And I imagine this lasts a long time. This, I would have to benchmark against their Hermes colognes. I'm craving at least 3 of them. Like they have rhubarb, they have basilic. I really want to try the basilic. They have Orange Vert. They have a few others. So if it's more expensive than Hermes colognes, I'll skip. I'm saying like, yeah, just go for that. And also I like their bottle design. But if it's cheaper, if it's some lucky release by a Sephora brand or something that Target sometimes can pull out from its collaborators, good for you. Let's see. Number 8. Ooh, this is another niche. This is Scottish indie artisan. Honorable. Jorum Studio. Oh, I think they started as a seller of perfumes, and then they devised their own line. Paradisi. Grapefruit. That's what we're talking about. Earth tincture. So it has to have the soil aspect. I didn't really get that. I still don't get it. To me, this is like green mango plus citruses. Grapefruit, I believe that. Oak moss usually falls into this greenness. Guava. Maybe, because I thought green mango, but it is guava fits. Cucumber, rhubarb. Here we go. Hey, I am rolling today, am I not? 50 ml will cost you 164. Okay, as I said before, if you can support independently owned, right? Like when your dollars go to actually to feed a family of real people and not like crazy trillionaire oligarchs, I would vote for that. I support this message. Otherwise, if you don't have access to Scottish indie niche, that'll do. What does Nicole say? From the website, a beacon amongst the green impression, grapefruit, orange, guava. I cannot read that. Honeysuckle. The fade, tree moss, mushroom, cedar, patchouli, soil. Well, maybe soil gets there somewhere at the bottom. at the end. To me, neon green bell pepper. You know, I actually get the bell pepper aspect that you're talking about. Yeah. From one Florida girl, Miami native. Ooh, we got a Miami girl in the house. To another, wear this in a hot, humid day. I 100% subscribe, agree. These neon green type of concoctions are beautiful in humid Florida heat. Looking forward to it. All right. Number 9. I hope I can finish as strong as I started, but we'll see. We'll see. I've been wrong before. This puzzles me. And since we're near the end, I'm gonna do the audacious thing and spray it on my wrist. We only have 2 more to go. It still puzzles me. This is one of those cases when I can say complex, quiet, maybe violets, but I can't tell for sure. This is very abstract for me. This is very hard to identify. I can only tell you that it is one of those quiet, nudie perfumes, but I have no strong associations, which is very embarrassing because I understand I'm not giving you much. But since I can't tell what it is, but it doesn't smell cheap or like chemically driven, I want to say this is like a very conceptual niche. And it's not conceptual in a way that, you know, the blood dripping off the knife and the burning church floating in space. No, it's just, to my nose, this is very complex, cerebral, very philosophical work that I would be surprised, maybe even pleasantly surprised, if this is dedicated to like a typical 3-note niche compositions, you know, like Jo Malone style, like basilic and this, hyacinth and clove, that and that. Like that seems like a very minimalistic, quiet, but complex composition, and it's fairly abstract. As I said, we had here iris, we had violets. Not that. It's Covert, I would say, number 1, and Le Divers style of perfumery. Even with Bois Farine, I had more to say. I felt the dough, the powderiness of the kitchen spice, the marzipan, the cookies. Here, I honestly can't tell. It's fascinating how something so quiet and demure can be so complex. I would need to study this and teach my nose. If there is any recognizable component here, I would need to actually upgrade my skill set. So I'm not gonna hold the intrigue any longer. I would put on some like super conceptual niche. I think this easily could cost $200 and would be worth it if that's your cup of tea. But it would be worth the price if it came with a story, if it came with a narrative. But if this is an affordable designer, I'll buy it. Swear to God. So guys. Okay, all right. I was happy prematurely. This is discontinued, coveted, and as Nicole rightly outlined it, priceless. This is designer though. This is Gucci. This is Gucci Nobile, by Kathy Gurevich. It was made in 1998. Oh, now I get it, but it's a fougere, but it's an old school fougere, but it's a subtle, nude fougere. This is, I dare say, it's like my gay sweetheart fougere, you know, like it's somebody you will never ever make out with, but somebody with who you will share the most intimate and sweet poetic moments with. It may be a hug, maybe just like putting a head against that person's shoulder, like that platonic love that will forever stay poetic in your memory. Wow, I can't believe that designer perfumes used to smell like this. I'm blown away. Okay, Gucci Nobile, oak moss, bergamot, lavender, fir, rosemary, sandalwood. This is so beautiful. Aromatic fougere discontinued in 2001-2003. I salvaged it from my late father's collection, and I have no doubt you guessed this one. Nope, was never preview to this perfume. Dear Nicole, I was so poor. My first fragrance was what my boyfriend bought me, and he, poor thing, he spent all his money. He had nothing to eat for a month, but he bought me Burberry Weekend. But that was already like mid 2000s. I didn't have access to any of this when I was younger. Like none of this, not even the miniature. Like it was like poor. Quintessential barbershop profile and classy. Yeah, but this is such a contemporary fougere, I must say, because like we are used to old school cologne fougères that are sharp, punchy, almost disturbing. This is so soft. This is the softest fougere in my memory to date. Jeez. And what do we do now with this information, Nicole? What do we all, everybody, me and everyone who's watching this, what are we supposed to do with this? How do we find a dupe? Or how do we convince the new creative director of Gucci, who is it, to recreate that formula for us? Alessandro Michele might have been convinced, but I'm not sure that Guasalia will. What do we do? What do we do with this information? One of the most beautiful, poetic, soft nude fougères is designer, and it's discontinued. Damn you! Wow. Guys, if you know of any fragrances that fit that description, please leave a comment below. Don't leave us in this state of collective devastation while I'm transitioning to the last challenge of this blind test, and this is number 10. You left the yummiest for the last. Chocolate, cacao, coffee, a little bit of caramel. But you know what? I am guilty of complaining a bit too much about not finding a coffee scent that is in any shape or form resembles coffee. Every time a designer or niche house brand create a coffee scent, its scent smells of caramel and lavender and not of coffee. I dare say, as little as this resembles coffee, it's closer to It's mocha. I would say like it's mocha, cacao with hints of coffee with a little bit, just a little bit of vanilla caramel. It's delightful. I would be devastated if this is expensive. Stuff like that is what I want to see from designer scents. I want the next Dior to be like this. Why can't Dior give us Monsieur au Chocolat and have it like this? Why? It's not that, like, I'm not asking for too much, am I? I am dying to know. Again, I think this is like either boutique designer. Again, for some reason, I think Lancôme or Guerlain would be absolutely skilled in their boutique lines to make something like that. I think it's either boutique or niche. If it's something affordable, oh my God, we all are gonna score tonight then. It's niche. It's indie niche. Delightful. Over the Chocolate Shop. That's the name of the perfume. This is that UK indie artisan 4160 Tuesdays by Sarah McCartney. That was a 2018 140 for 50 ml. Could be worse though. Cacao, coffee, hazelnut, praline, vanilla. God damn. Come on. Give me one. Just give me a like. I'm winning. Can't stop winning. As I said, I've never tried this brand, so I couldn't have possibly guessed this perfume, but I guessed the overall theme, like almost note by note. Inspired by the flat above a chocolate shop, filled with aroma of pralines, prepared early in the morning. What an imagery. That's actually a cool concept. It's very Hallmark Christmas movie. My husband and I like to wear it with an incense perfume. Try it. Ooh, I hear you. I see you. Because something like that, incense would work. And it also reminds me, it's like a lighter version of L'Heure de Fond, 7th Hour by Cartier, because there the dark chocolate and these chocolatey spices are combined with deep dark oak moss and patchouli. That's like another way to twist coffee, mocha, chocolate theme. And I guess if you combine that with an incense, that also gives it a bit of more depth and substance. I can see that. And I will try to layer it. Thank you. Guys, I called it a resounding success. And to make this success last even longer, what do you need to do? You know what you need to do. First of all the links are down below. Send one, request one, talking about blind tests. Let's keep the party going. Give this video a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't yet, so we can do what? Chat in the next video.